lot of posts lately about how do you put lead came or zinc came or what do you use for framing on stained glass. So welcome to my little workbench studio. I'm Sandy I'm Sandy K. Johnson. Stained Glass Tips and Tricks on Facebook also is a great group that I am admin for. So let's start off. Caming is either a lead product, or it could be zinc, brass, or copper. Caming, I don't know where the name came from. Don't know, have to look it up. But lead caming comes in, both of them actually, all of them come in either a U shape or an H shape. The U shape is what you use to go around the edges of your project when it's completed. The H chamber is what you would use inside when you're making a panel. It takes the place of copper foil. So here I've got some examples of different ones. This is most of the time what I use. It's called hobby came. It's U-shaped, which means it's only got a groove on one side. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And this is what goes around the edges of your project. This is the thinnest it comes. It's the hobby came. And you can see this one has not been stretched yet. This one has. When you're working with your lead came, you need to stretch it. And basically all you're doing is you're getting the kinks out. You can see the difference there. And I'll show you that in a second. Then I've got, it comes in either sticks, 6-foot sticks usually, or in spools. So this is, what's this say? This is U-lead 1/8" flat. So you can see it's a flat edge, more blocky. It's not rounded. It also comes in a round. I like the round. I think it looks just a little bit nicer on my project, but the flat works fine too. And again, you would just cut this with your lead dikes or any, I got mine handy. I don't, I'll have to grab them here in a second. Actually, they're right here. Let me show you. I keep my handy tools right there in my Swiffer sweeper boxes. They're my favorite box to store stuff in. So these are what I use. They're flat on one side, curved on the other, and you would literally just snip and let it soft so it cuts real easy with your cutters there. Now I mentioned you need to stretch it, so and this is H. Might as well just talk about all this together. You can see your glass fits on both sides of it, one on each side. It takes the place of your copper foil, and then you putty it at the end. And this is a spool of 3/32 round H. Round meaning it's rounded on the top versus flat. And again, 3/32 is really thin, so you wouldn't have much of a line. Can you see that there? Okay, so that's some of your options. And then there's 1/8" round that I like to use. I've got some examples over here. So this is the 1/8" round that I use on the bigger projects. This is the hobby came on her. Okay, hobby came on this one also. So what I do is I foil the entire piece, I tin around the edges, just as if I was finishing it regularly. Then you put it around your project, and I'm going to do a video just on this. But you would take your stretched lead, and I'm trying to do this one-handed, sorry. Start in an area and just work it around, pushing it in with a fid. That's what this item is. Pushing it in the nooks and crannies with a fid or whatever you've got around, a clothespin, whatever, so that you can get into some of these tight spots. Work it around, and usually as I do it, I'm tacking that, and then I'll go in and I'll fill in with solder around the whole entire edge. instead of just, some people will only tack it on where the foil meets, but I don't. I go all the way around. Okay, so we've got lead, and you need to stretch it. Get yourself a good pair of some pliers with good teeth on it. You're going to use a clamp. This is my clamp right there. Get it so you can see it. There we go. Okay. I like to use the spring-loaded clamps. There's some that's not spring-loaded, and you just kind of tap it with a hammer and then try to get it up. I don't like those. I like the spring-loaded ones. These screw onto your bench, just like mine is right here. You would take your lead, set it in there, and I'd kind of give it a little push. And then your only thing that you're doing this for is to get the kinks out. So let me kink this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just giving it, and I've braced myself like I'm on a tug of war, and I'm just pulling it. It will stretch maybe 2-3 inches depending on the length of your lead. You just want to get that straight. And then come back in here, and you've stretched your lead. You're not actually stretching it, you're just straightening it. And that would be ready to use. Okay, so pliers, this is what that clamp looks like. If you're looking up online, the 2 different fids that you can use to getting it around there. I have some re-strip here. This is what goes inside. If you're worried about a larger panel needing structure inside it, you put this along your edge and solder it right inside the seams of your panel. So that if you've heard of re-strip, that's what that is. Then besides lead, you've got zinc, brass, and it comes in copper also, came. It comes also in different sizes, so I've got some different sizes here. I've got an 1/8 inch U channel, just grooved on one side. It comes in 1/4 inch, same thing. I got my glass sitting on it on the bottom, so I can't move it. Okay, comes in 3/8 inch, which is what this one is. This is a small piece I can show you. Anything over 1/8 inch is going to have a channel, a hollow channel inside there. And then this is a 1/2 inch here. These also come in U shape and H shape. So here, you can see the H shape. So again, kind of like lead, except this is zinc. Very, very rigid. My brass over here. This brass is interesting because again, it comes in the 1/8 inch U. It comes in H, which is what this is. And then this is brass capped lead. So it's actually lead with a brass capping on the top. So it looks like brass on the outside, but it's easier and more flexible, it's a relative term, than what the other is. And again, here's some, this is 3/8 inch channel. And then the copper is the same thing. The copper, 1/8 inch, and this is an H. Again, it's got the grooves on both sides. Okay, so lots of options as far as that. A lot of you might not have even known that those existed, but they do. Now when you're cutting zinc, there's a couple different ways that you can cut it. Again, you can use your nippers and cut slices into the channel. Or if you can find them, I'm hearing that these aren't manufactured anymore, I don't know. But these are a zinc channel where you just set it in there, notch it down. And I did a video on it the other day. It produces a perfect 90-degree. And I also have an octagon shape one there. It notches it for you. You can use a hand cutter or a little saw. This one's from Harbor Freight. And then I've got my big industrial one under the bench over here, tucked in behind. because it's so big and heavy I don't like pulling it out, but that's available also. Now if you do need to bend this into the zinc into a circle or an oval, they make these items. It's called a cane bender. And what you do is you take your cane, I've got 3/8 in there right now, you stick it, you normally would have it screwed down onto your workbench, and you use this handle to tighten the dies, and then this handle to run it through, and it creates, sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand, but basically you run it through several times and it will create your circle for you. So if you're doing lots of larger circles and things like that, the cane bender is wonderful to have. So again, there's my boxes. They normally come in 6-foot lengths, no matter what you get, or you can get lead and spools. Pros and cons. Spools are nice, but sometimes I have found that as I'm pulling it off, it has gotten wrapped or wrinkled and twisted and kind of not so nice. But it's a great way to save some money in shipping rather than the long 6-foot boxes that you have to get. If you have any questions, send a reply down below, or contact me on Facebook or spectrumartist17@gmail.com. Thank you.